The human ego is a strange thing. It can make you risk your own life to do the right thing. It can even help you survive in the army at age 10. Reasons to feel good about yourself or extreme jobs. Drowning is said to be the third biggest cause of accidental death in adults in North America. And in places where people love to use the water and the ice, the statistics can be frightening. Not surprising then that there are people out there whose job it is to lower the death toll. Kingston, upstate New York, the location for an intense training session. Andrea Zaferes is at the top of her field. She is a public safety diver. Sound tame? It's not. The police, FBI and military all turn to her.
When it comes to water, we think of that as recreation, and not enough of us have respect for the awesome power of water.
The power of water has led Andrea into working 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day.
Hey, sir. How are you? How are you feeling?
As well as an instructor, she is a top forensic diver and underwater investigator. Does this woman ever sleep? In her 23 years of service, she's seen and done it all. She's the diver that saves other divers. She's also recovered victims from watery graves and children from under the ice.
Anybody can drown. You can be an Olympic swimmer. You get hit in that face with that cold water. You gasp, you inhale. And if you inhale water, your throat closes up. Anybody can drown.
It's her straight-talking approach that's put her in the Public Safety Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Every year, around 1,000 students get the Andrea treatment. 10-day instructor course costs around €1,000.
Do you have a copy?
Today, sub-zero weather and a reality check for some firemen learning ice rescue. Lesson 1, how to put your own safety first.
We call it the nature of the beast. You got that kid out there going, help, I can't hold on anymore, help. What are you gonna do? We wanna save somebody. Yeah. This is very hard. But for us, it is more heroic to stay on shore and to do what you can from shore. And you go out there in your turnout gear, you're gonna be another victim. And now we gotta save 2 people. Good chance we may not even get to that kid because we gotta get you out there first.
Anyone with an ego problem had better give this trade a miss.
You're not as burly as I can.
Have a go, heroes. Stand aside. Ice rescue calls for planning and patience. If you panic, you die.
Please hurry! Hold on, man! Help! Help!
Here, get on the other side here.
All right, I'm on.
Minus 8 degrees Celsius. You've got less than an hour in this water. You hyperventilate and your blood pressure rises. Muscle cramps dig in and your heart can give out.
What we're looking at is a 5-minute window. If you can survive the 5 minutes of all this stuff happening to you, you've got a chance that you can hang on to that ice for as much as 10, 20, 30 minutes. So either you're gonna go down in 5 minutes or maybe you're gonna be able to hang on. So you gotta survive for that 5-minute window.
Andrea has had a few close shaves. Now she writes the instruction manual. Step 1, test the thickness of the ice.
Left, right, center.
The first thing is we need a strong surface support, which tends to not happen.
Right, right to give him.
Step 2, get your rescue diver ready.
Go ahead.
Once submerged, the diver's life will be in the hands of an onshore buddy called a tender, who controls the lifeline and gives backup. Even so, accidents do happen, sometimes to instructors.
There was an incident where an instructor went down with a student. The student was on a line, instructor wasn't. The instructor runs out of air. The instructor takes the diver's air supply. Now the student is pulling on the line to try and get back to shore because he needs air. Well, the tenders felt the line being pulled, so they thought, give him more line. Guys are dying under there, and they're literally being given more line.
About 6 rescue divers die each year. Better than the 100 or so firefighters that lose their lives, but still, tough odds. To get into this trade, you need at least 5 years field experience and mental and physical toughness. Andrea now owns her own company with her partner Butch. For them, saving lives is a way of life.
One appears to be a child.
A new drill. Boy and 2 adults out on the ice. Andrea quickly builds a team. However tempting it is to rush, sticking to procedure will be the difference between life and death. With his weight spread along the iceboard, the rescuer is less likely to crack the ice.
Keep holding on to the handles.
Okay.
So far, so good. But often, the victim is unconscious and needs CPR. If you try to resuscitate out in the lake, you could force more water into the victim's lungs. And if water goes into the victim's stomach, they could vomit in your mouth. Thankfully, no such hiccups on this training exercise. But it's a job where you're always prepared for the worst.
What happens is you can go to one town and they have ice sleds and suits and cleats and fins and the whole deal. You take 2 steps out of that town to the next town and they're wearing their turnout gear in metal boats trying to drag that across the ice. So one, because there's no standard, people are doing crazy things.
When you're a diver, first aider, forensic scientist, psychologist and teacher, what do you get back?
Keeping people alive, that's the key. Feel really gratitude, when you do an operation and a team calls you up and they go, hey, we just found this 2-year-old kid and we're able to resuscitate him and bring him back to life, and the divers came home and the kid came home, and it's very, very gratifying.
Worth far more than the annual salary of around 40,000 euros. Andrea still gets in the water to show people how it's done. And when she's not teaching, she's off diving to help solve homicides. Must be easier ways to feel good about yourself. Although this next job is no less dangerous, if you thought your teenage years were rough, have a look at this. These 10 to 16-year-olds are in training for Russia's military. Before they hit puberty, they'll know how to kill with their bare hands. This is the Elite Cascade Training Unit, based in the woods near Moscow. Captain Gennady Karatayev is a Special Forces instructor. There has been no conflict in Russia within the last 10 years that he or one of his pupils hasn't fought in. An ex-Special Forces operative himself, it's now Gennady's job to train a new generation of elite soldiers. Valery Smirnov was a borderline candidate when he joined at just 10 years old. 4 years on, he's a top marksman.
Cascade teaches us to survive and not to kill, to survive in extreme situations, to master the weapons, everything you need to be in the special forces of the Russian army.
Valery isn't the youngest boy ever recruited. But at least the days are gone when children can end up in prison for refusing to sign up. Training camp is still tough. It's all about disciplining mind and body.
I like practicing close combat most.
When Valery joined us, he was a weakling. I doubted that he could keep up. But now he fulfills his tasks, even if he almost collapses doing it. This perseverance and this will was given to him by Kaskad. Of course, there are fractures of the nose and sprains from time to time, but we see every injury as a strength. It is exactly analysed so that it won't get repeated. After all, we need healthy soldiers and healthy men.
8,000 kids have passed through Kaskad since it was formed in 1982, when the Soviet army needed more troops for Afghanistan.
Смирно! Здравствуйте, товарищи! 25 шагов! Марш!
For Valery, even family life comes second to training.
Устал. Устал он заниматься уже. Сам подтянись. Он очень долго хотел
He always wanted to join Kaskad. He begged again and again. First, I was absolutely against it. My own blood, my little one, and he leaves to play war. That was very hard for me.
In 4 years' time, he could be on active duty, and war zones like Chechnya are a likely prospect. The targets are fake, but the bullets are real. As a Special Forces officer, you can earn around €1,000 a year.
Документы и изъять аппаратуру. Может.
Gymnage sets the boys a mission in the forests outside Moscow to capture secret documents from an armoured car.
Смирно. Через 10 минут все стоят построены. Вольно. Вы подбегаете как раз с этой стороны.
Дерево вон.
Да, ты подбегаешь, сразу главного держишь. Разорись! Ставить строиться. Сегодня у нас решающий день.
Today is a very decisive day. Today they will start their tactical maneuvers. This is the most important part of the training. Not enough sleep, lots of physical exercise, and only dry rations for food.
10 шагов вперед, шагов! Марш!
This is no place for the weak-willed. A bus ride into the forest is a misleading comfort for the trainees.
Будем прыгать с вертолета.
First we'll abseil somewhere from a helicopter, and we'll live there the next few days in the snow and sleep under the snow. I'm not afraid. This is not the first time that I'm participating in a manoeuvre. I know what to do, what I can do, what tricks there are. I feel safe.
Before it was closed down in 1991, the Spetsnaz KGB was arguably one of the most exclusive and secretive military units in the world. The legacy lives on.
One can ask if it's too early for the guys to have weapons to shoot with, or to be ready to kill and to be killed. In my opinion, I don't think it's too early for them.
На наш взгляд, я не думаю, что...
As well as the expected gun skills, it's his job to teach them survival skills, hand-to-hand combat, and the art of destroying the enemy.
А потом Москве.
Setting such tough goals for children can't be easy.
They must wait. Sometimes they have to lie in the snow for several hours.
As the instructor, he can't afford to show any mercy. The exercise has to be as real as possible.
When they were digging me in the first time, I was extremely scared. I couldn't imagine how it could be possible to stay there and wait. I was telling my friend, don't be afraid, don't panic, just do as the captain tells us.
Psychologically, the younger you learn something, the quicker you catch on. With the ambush team in place, each boy gets his model Kalashnikov at the ready. Training doesn't get more real than this. It's a tough life, but at least it keeps them off the streets. They thrive on the buzz of chasing the reward of a successful mission. Gemnage is pleased. And for Valeri, he survived another tough experience.
It was dark under there, and I was still a bit afraid. Now I've got a headache.
Working for the Russian Special Forces may be dangerous, but in return, it can give you fantastic physical and mental discipline, and a job for life. Assuming you're made of the right stuff. For a change, this next trade doesn't ask you to put your life on the line. But both your wallet and your ego could be in for a battering. It takes a special kind of dedication to make it as a fish millionaire. Joseph Bertram thinks nothing of a 9,000-kilometre commute to work from his home in Germany. On his quest to find the perfect fish, Nagata, Central Japan, has it all. But as one of Europe's top koi carp traders, Joseph risks losing money and reputation if he fails to land something good on his trip.
The trick with the koi business is to judge the quality of the fish.
The beauty of this trade is that anyone could do it, in theory. Joseph trained as a lawyer. Maybe that helps him with the incredible powers of concentration and attention to detail you need to tell the difference between the good, the bad, and the ugly. There are fish out there worth hundreds of thousands of euros. If you fancy trying your hand at the koi carp lottery, listen up, as we're about to give you the lowdown on exactly what it takes. First, know your sources. Like Joseph, you'll need to strike good relations with the fish breeders on the ground in Japan. It's a gamble which fish to back, so you'll need good instincts. It's all too easy for your money to literally end up down the drain. A bit like buying a work of art. You need to assess every marking and blemish to work out if you're buying a future masterpiece or a worthless imitation. There are 3 types of koi on offer. The black, red and white Showa Sanshoku, the red and white Kohaku, that shares its colours with Japan's national flag, and the single colour Ogon. Joseph's picked out 2 Showas.
These chaps are 3 years old. They will stay in Japan for another couple of years to grow in the mud ponds.
The annual cost for his 14 koi in this 5-star fish hotel is up to €1,000 each. But it's a risky business. Disease, stunted growth, there's a lot that could go wrong over the years that you're forced to wait and watch your investment mature. You don't need much special training to be a koi trader. Breeding these fish is a science as well as an art. Checking for lice is a full-time job in itself.
I think now in this season, getting warmer.
With this season getting warmer, we must treat them once a month.
Yeah, once a month we treat, yeah.
Like any human, they get sick and catch colds.
Herpes, anchorworm, flukes and lice. The list of koi carp ailments is long and gruesome. And they're all diseases that can affect the size, colour and shape of the fish, and therefore, ultimately, Josef's bank balance. Josef wants to see for himself that his fish are alert and healthy. Apparently, you can tell when a koi carp is sulking, and this is a sign of bad health. And because the markings are individual like fingerprints, it's very difficult for dealers to cheat. The longer you deal with people, the better the price you can get. This trade is all about relationships and trust. Like in any deal making, having a good face for poker can help. Finally, a deal is struck. He's bought a shower that he hopes will grow into a winner. He won't disclose the price, but the smile on his face is a good sign. But the pressure's still on. Master Kato is 82 years old and has spent decades perfecting carp breeding. For Josef, Master Kato is a world-renowned guru, and there's no better place to come for advice or for quality fish. Kato uses a special recipe of vitamins and minerals in the water to help the fish grow to champion proportions.
The basis of the koi's food are these pellets, which I produce on my own. They contain fish meal for animal growth and algae, which influences the colour. In addition, my animals get other food, which is mainly based on vegetables, and which should strengthen their defences.
Millions of litres of water, constantly filtered and fine air bubbles added. Water saturated with oxygen can help the fish stay active and grow. Some of the bigger specimens get to play outside. These big shallow ponds with mineral-rich beds are as close as you can get to koi utopia. Kato's lifetime experience in fish breeding result in fish that could grow to over 1 metre in length. Josef is moved by the spectacle of koi perfection. But these beautiful kohakus are not for sale. In good Japanese tradition, Master Kato won't see his friend go home empty-handed. In Josef's trade, it's a mixture of instinct, experience, reputation and contacts that make for success. One last stop. He's scheduled to collect some fish that he hopes to sell back home. It's a gamble, and it doesn't come cheap. But this business is about speculation. Most carp lovers don't make it past amateur status. Do you have the staying power to become a fish millionaire? 3 jobs to test you. In designer fishing, you trade your pride. In the Russian Special Forces, your innocence. But it's the rescue divers who trade their egos to save lives.